Ladies and gentlemen of the comments section, I have heard your words, or rather, I've read them, and I've been very happy to see responses with regards to the next Hearts of Iron video. I've thought about it, and I'm coming up with a fusion of a bunch of ideas that were suggested, so I'll go right into the game and let you know what that is. So I think the biggest problem I had with the mono battle format was that this game really isn't built around that idea. There are units that are situational, highly situational, and even with the units that are not highly situational, the general idea is that you're supposed to combine unit types and build divisions that work, and to a lesser extent the Navy and the Air Force as well. So I'm going to be a bit more flexible in the rules, but I am very much going to be doing something fairly focused, and that is this. We're playing as Turkey. Now, previously, I'd played as Greece and we'd restored the Byzantine Empire, and I liked that as a campaign goal because it's a lot better than just saying, "Oh, I can build this, I can not build this," and then you do whatever. Especially if you're Germany, you kind of play a fairly standard game to anyone who's played this game a lot because everybody's played Germany and everybody knows what they can do. But Turkey, I have never played as, and my objective is going to do something that was added in the most recent big update, rather Ironclad. We're going to reform the Ottoman Empire. And specifically, what that requires me to do is to start with Turkey, obviously, hold your course there, attack and capture Iraq, attack and capture Saudi Arabia, and I think most of the rest of just Arabia in period, Egypt, Libya. Now, those are the things we need to form the Ottoman Empire, and then you get some cores, I think, in Algeria and Tunisia that you can pursue at will. I'm going to add another requirement onto it and just say I want to rebuild the Ottoman Empire to its greatest territorial extent. So that's going to mean Greece, Albania, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Romania, Hungary, and parts of the southern Soviet Union. We're gonna say border with Iran is fine. I may, because technically the border did kind of range back and forth between the two over the years, but I think what I will say is modern Middle East, with the exception of Iran, North Africa, the Balkans, parts of the Ukraine and the Caucasus. And that's going to be the objective of this campaign. Now, let's get in there and I will explain specifically what I have in mind. Alrighty, so here we are in game. Now, what do you need to know about Turkey in this Hearts of Iron game? First, we start with Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. We get no national spirits, he doesn't do anything. He'll be dead soon enough. It's the only unique event Turkey gets in the game. And again, it does nothing as far as I can tell. We just get a new leader who I believe is Ismet Inonu. We'll find out in a moment. Anyway, we're a neutral country, or neutral alignment. We don't have elections. Oh no, wait, we do have elections. Interesting. Well, that's not really important because we're going to be going fascist. The reason we're going fascist is because they offer the quickest route to beginning the wars, and obviously we need to attack Iraq and Saudi Arabia. And I think we can get probably two national conquests done before the Allies get, I guess, their guarantees going, and that usually happens at about 25% world tension. I'm estimating we can get two, but we'll have to be very fast. The other thing to note is that Turkey has a basic, I guess, generic, yeah, it's called a generic focus tree, not the Turkey focus tree. And because we have the generic focus tree, we've got some advantages, i.e., it's a pretty straight shot with all the industry, pretty flexible army, aviation, and navy efforts, and their associated trees. They're not really very good, though. They're pretty wide ranging, but not great. You can't really focus on much with them. We'll have to focus despite the absence of focuses required for them. That's a very confusing sentence. Focus in terms of one of these buttons versus focus in terms of its literal meaning. Anyway, we're going for political effort because we have to go fascist quick. Just like the Greek game, actually, come to think of it. Now, in terms of an army, we have a not terrible one, which is good. 27 divisions. I've not actually seen what the unit types are. So this is infantry division. 9, I was going to say equipment. No, we have equipment. What we don't have is support companies. Mountaineers, 2 brigades. Okay. Garrison brigade. Cool. We actually have one of those to start. And a big cavalry brigade. Or 2 brigade. I guess almost a full cavalry division, so that's pretty good. Now, I said I would talk about the specific ideas of this campaign in terms of what I'm going to focus on. And here's the idea. Here's where viewer input had, well, some input. Now, I had some people suggesting that I combine Stugs and, well, I had one person suggesting combining Stugs, like the German assault guns, with engineers and just rolling through areas. And that sounds pretty great. There's some limitations with regards to the Stugs. Either whether we're doing like the tank artillery, which is assault guns usually in this game, or dedicated tank destroyers. Either way, they're good to fill some niche roles, but they can't operate on their own, even with the engineer support company. But I very much support the idea that we use engineers because, I mean, they're friggin' good, especially if you have very early, shall we say, division templates. Anyway, I'm going to build armored vehicles throughout this game, and there's a very good reason for that. We have a armor expert. So that's pretty great. And I think for a chieftain, yeah, just offense, defense, we're going to take the offense guy. So we can actually make tanks work pretty well. Another reason we can do that, if I open the resource map, we have so much chromium. I made reference to that in the last mono battle because we were buying it all. But with all that chromium, that means we can build heavy tanks and modern tanks and actually capital ships. So we have that big advantage. And if we do manage to take out Iraq quickly, we will have the oil to run all these ships and tanks. So there's a bright future. We'll start producing tanks, but I don't think we'll have any, or at least not many, for our first battles. Next up, in terms of the strategy, I want to talk about the Air Force. No, I don't. No, I don't. Sorry. Tanks. I talked about tanks. That's a minor component of the army early on. The major component is that we're going to convert all of our army into motorized, mechanized, or cavalry. This is going to be a full mobile army, including the garrisons. So that's what the big focus is going to be on. And that's because of the comment suggesting winged hussars. And I thought, okay, fair enough. I love that idea. I love the idea of, playing Poland with the winged hussars. This is very much a game where Poland either acquiesces to the Soviets or the Germans and, builds a big empire if you're a reasonably good player on behalf of that, and that's fun. Or you say no and do the historical route, and you're basically a siege state. And I don't think the siege state really corresponds well with the winged hussars, because, winged hussars are about the glory and the charging and everything. So I wanted to bring that idea, but I'll do it with Turkey. Now, in terms of the Air Force, this is where it gets kind of interesting. And I've wanted to play Turkey purely for this reason. We'll go to our High Command. Turkey is, in fact, the only country that gets a genius level strategic bombing expert. Now, the reason Turkey gets a strategic bombing genius expert is nonsense, but historically plausible nonsense. What you're looking at is Sabia Gökçen. I can't pronounce it, but she is the adopted daughter of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. She has, as far as I am aware, the distinction of being the first female combat pilot anywhere ever. And she got that combat experience over here near, what's this? Not Van, Diyarbakir. Anyway, another of the periodic Kurdish uprisings in Turkey. She was a combat pilot for that and dropped some bombs on rebels. Anyway, she was able to do that despite the fact that there were no women allowed in the Turkish Air Force because she was the adopted daughter of Ataturk, and, she was able to do that because of his patronage. Anyway, she was also a pretty big proponent of the Turkish Air Force, and I'm guessing on, her interesting historical basis, that's why she's in the game as the genius level. Is she a genius level strategic bombing expert? No, Turkey never had a strategic bombing wing. But we're going to make use of her because we are going to build a strategic bombing wing. So that's what the major striking arm of our Air Force is going to be, strategic bombers as Turkey. Because why not? You get the only genius level expert, you'd better do it. Next, I want to briefly hit up the old Navy here. We actually have the Sultan Yavuz as our flagship. It's a battle cruiser in this game. What it actually was a German World War One vintage. I think it was actually a battle cruiser that was caught in the Mediterranean at the beginning of the First World War. And it and a heavy cruiser made a dash all the way through the Mediterranean, escaping Allied ships, made it to the Ottoman Empire, what was then the Ottoman Empire, and was turned over technically to Ottoman control, although it kept its German officers and crew, and it operated in the Black Sea, attacking Russian shipping and bombarding ports and that sort of thing. It survived the war, it remained in Turkish control as their flagship. So we actually have a battle cruiser to start, which means that, well, if we were fighting any minor countries around here, we could probably take them quite easily at sea with that thing backing us up. I already mentioned that we have chromium, so we can build capital ships quite easily. But our first attacks are going to be on Iraq and Saudi Arabia, unless something changes that convinces me otherwise. And I think that probably settles all of the basic planning for this campaign. So I'm going to get started. There we are. Now, research slots, you can afford to take a bit of time on this because there's a backlog that you can build up. Day 1 out of 30 saved. You can save up to 30 days of research, so you can, I think, for multiplayer purposes, just keep going and not have to pause, and it's not a big deal for the people. I'm going to turn it up a bit, then we'll pause. Let's have a look at production. I actually don't know where we're at. We're building interwar fighters, which is interesting. I take it we then have an air force. We do. We have, yeah, CIS-1 and 45 fighters. That's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting, but kind of useless too. I'm not really interested in building terrible fighters. I'm definitely interested in building infantry equipment. So we've got 4 military factories, 1 dockyard, and what? 10 civilian factories, of which 4 are going to consumer goods. Okay. In terms of ships, we've got 6 destroyers, 2 light cruisers, and the Sultan Yavuz. So, where are we at? We got the Yavuz class. Yeah, no. Well, it's about as bad as it gets, but, you know, this is the beginning of the old game. Coastal defense ship, interesting. Ah, this is the light cruiser they're talking about. And then we have a basic ass destroyer, I'm guessing. Yeah, a very basic ass destroyer. And submarines. Well, that's not a bad submarine actually, and is that a mine laying submarine? Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we really need to be looking into that right now. To be honest with you, I think I will begin by ordering another Yavuz. And we're going to stick it with the fleet. And it's going to require a lot of steel that we presently don't have. We're just going to get it under construction as we're building some new stuff. So, first up, military factories. The Navy comes second. Let's crank up some Navy factories in Istanbul. It'll take a long time, I expect. We can probably afford to get some steel, especially if we're going to be adding a bunch of infantry equipment. Production that requires steel. Air forces in Istanbul, we'll send it to Diyarbakir. We'll take the army and do what I said I would do and convert it all to cavalry. Well, that'll show me. Take the entire army and mess it up. We'll send it to Ankara and we'll get it training as soon as it gets there. We can go up to 5 times speed now. Oh, we actually also have submarines. My bad. I guess I was sending that to the submarine fleet. Maybe? No. No, I was right the first time. Very good. It's nice to have submarines, I guess. And 27 divisions is probably all we're gonna need. At least for the first war. Let's have a look at our generals. Okay. Alright. One of these guys is gonna have to become a field marshal. Because we don't have command power. We'll have to wait for that. Hill fighter. Trickster. This guy's going to be the general. We'll send the desert fighter up to field marshal status when the time comes. Political effort. Good, good. I doubt we have any. Yeah, there's our Reform the Ottoman Empire decision. So we're going to get on that. It's going to take some time, though. Alright, we're coming up on the end of the first focus tree choice that we have made. I'm going to be skipping through parts of the early game because there's not a lot going on. Yeah. Cool, and we've got our first political power. So, fascist demagogue. Cool. Yes, I'm going to be skipping through sections of the early game, excepting when there are times that I have something I want to talk about. And actually, right now I'm going to talk about something, and that would be the One Life series that's going on right now. It's the Spitfire One Life with Lieutenant Jeremy Corbyn, and I'm going to be continuing recording it today, actually. I can't promise it'll come out on the same day that this will. In fact, I think it's probably more likely that it won't come out on the same day this does, but it's coming along the pipeline too. I had a unfortunate confluence of assignments. That was my own fault, actually. I volunteered for some things early in the semester that I probably shouldn't have. But there are more things coming down the pipeline. My bad for waiting so long. Alright, here we are back again. Nationalism focus. Now, one thing that is implicit in what I discussed for the goals for this campaign, but I haven't said explicitly, is that this goal of mine to rebuild the Ottoman Empire at its greatest extent, as the goal for this campaign, will force me to fight all three of the major powers. We will be fighting the Comintern, the Axis, and the Allies at some point. So, you know, I haven't perhaps cut out as easy an objective as I seem to have from the beginning done so. Attacking Iraq obviously is going to be okay, and Saudi Arabia, their armies are pretty small. 3 divisions, it'll probably be about 7 or 8 by the time we get around to them. Iraq, 2, again, probably about 6 is what I'd estimate. So we should overrun them with relative ease, and I do mean relative ease, because, oh, I've forgotten about these decisions. I want to have a quick look at that, actually. Ban fascism? I don't bloody think so. Open up political discourse. Yeah, why not? I am trying to get to fascism as quickly as I can. Expand civil support. Oh, what the hell. I don't like losing stability, and I've mentioned this in previous games. Stability is, like, such a useful thing to have, and it hurts to get rid of it, but ultimately, man, we have to get the war started quicker. Like, real on quick, and we've almost got the army trained up to regular, which is good, which is very good. We're getting some glorious army experience, which we will be able to use later. Prepare for civil war. No, we're not having civil war. We're doing the referendum route. I don't want to lose a bunch of shit. I'm just, call me a coward if you have to, but we're doing the democratic fascist route, which is somewhat of an oxymoron. But I guess it doesn't so much matter now, does it? Getting nationalism focus. I think, yeah, that's going to be pretty useful. The whole militarism, the increased population recruitment is, again, going to be kind of important because we're going to be fighting everybody at some point. And in the Greek campaign, near the end there, we were having serious manpower issues, and I expect it'll be the same here, assuming we even get that far. The Greek playthrough had some advantages we won't. Like, they have much more balanced resources off the beginning, so you've got the ability to make, well, a lot of cool stuff. Our war targets are slightly easier off the beginning, though, so that's nice. I mean, we fought Turkey as the first opponent, and that was a bit hairy. Alrighty, we're on to militarism. So, we're getting up there pretty quick. This whole fascism thing. Expand civil support, discredit government, so I think we'll just do that, discredit government. Because either way, if we're losing stability, best to gun down the CHP quicker. Yeah. Yep, we're definitely on our way. And it's good that we're going to be expanding our eligible core population for conscription. At least I think. No, that was nationalism. We are doing that via militarism. 5% increase in recruitable population. That's huge. And I don't mean 5% over what we've got already, I mean 5% of total. That is quite big. Expand civil support, let's go. We're going up. We're going up as quick as we bloody well can here. We've got research. Pretty quick. I mean, you know me. If you've watched me play Hearts of Iron, you know I get concentrated industry really quick. Because you just gotta make guns, man. Gun after gun after gun, and it looks like we're done training, so we can finally get a bunch of equipment. We're at, I guess 60%? Yeah, wow. What a guy. What an accurate guy. Average strength 60%, i.e. average amount of equipment we have. We have a fully stocked army in terms of manpower. Not that we'll need 27 divisions. At least I sure as hell hope we don't. That would be awkward. Let's click all of these down. We don't need to be banning parties. Probably. Ooh, steelworks. Construction 3. Okay, that'll be a while away. And speaking of construction being a while away, our factories are not coming in quickly. And it's going to be that way until we start taking the industrial route. Speaking of this, military youth is good, paramilitarism, cool, ideological fanaticism. Yeah, these are all great stuff, great things we've got going here. And that one, yeah, okay, so militarism is going to be the last one we take. And then we're going to flip on over to industrial effort and army effort. We'll get rolling.